This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Call Rowena now. The number is 240-9962 or 1-800-570-9962. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
Good morning and welcome to the show. This is Rowena Patton in Asheville, North Carolina. You can listen anywhere in the country. RealEstateNewsRadio.com, RealEstateNewsRadio.com. Click on the link to listen live because we like to be live. Well, you might be listening to the podcast and then we're not live, I guess. Does that mean we're dead, Randy? We ain't dead yet, is the thing.
We always have a joke in radio. I got to go do a live remote as opposed to a dead one.
Yeah, really. You know, I love those descriptors. So what I love about them is when I go into a grocery store and it says fresh fish as opposed to stinky old fish or fresh meat. That's another one. Instead of, and the rancid meat's on the left, you know. It's like, okay. The best meat in town's always a good one that our favourite grocery store uses. And we're measuring that how exactly? Is that, I mean, did they win more awards or, you know, did the goats eat more stuff out of the yard? Best meat in town, like, is it cheaper? Does it taste better? Like, best meat in town. I like things I can measure is all I'm saying.
You can't manage anything you can't measure. Exactly.
There's no accountability. There's no consequences. Wow, we've got quite a show for you today, haven't we? We're going to look at some zip codes today. Really exciting. If you would like to know what's going on in your market, you can give us a call. Live on the show, 800-570-9962. That's 800-570-9962. 570-9962. Just remember the 800. I'm not very good at remembering phone. Do you remember we used to remember everybody's phone number, Randy? I used to remember 100 people. I'm not kidding. I was known as the phone directory in my first business throughout my 20s. And I used to remember 100 phone numbers. And now I can barely remember my own.
Same here.
It's a cell phone thing, though. It's not an aging thing, I think. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right?
It's out of practice, man. We don't do it anymore.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, right? So if you would like me to check on your zip code, I've already had a text in saying check on 73301. I don't know where that is. So tell me where they are. You can do it on the Facebook page or just give us a call, 800-570-9962. You can say that you're calling for a friend. It doesn't have to be your zip code. So the first one is 73301. Maybe you can win awards for where that is. I think it's Texas, 3301. I sort of reckon. Oh, it's Austin. That's why I recognize it. I've been to Austin probably 23 times. Okay, 73301. See, I've forgotten already. 73301. It's okay. So the 78. I'm gonna just for the heck of it. I'm gonna do the second one on there was 78745, which is coming up, which is Sunset Valley. So I can give you all kinds of price points and or data points. Excuse me. I can give you like 30 data points on every zip code in the country. So think about what you want to know on it. If you've been listening the last few weeks, I've been telling you what I like to do is look at price cuts. Why? Because if you list a house in most markets, the Northeast is a little bit protected right now. It's a little bit behind the curve of the rest of the country where most of us have crested already. However, so if you list a house tomorrow, without CPO, forget cash CPO, but so unless you certify pre-own it, you're going to get a check 67% of the time at Thanksgiving. It sounds really exciting, doesn't it? And you'll be really ticked off because 33% of the time your house has fallen out because you haven't pre-inspected it. So you all know about certified pre-owned. If you're just tuning in and maybe you're listening for the first time, you can go to cpoexperts.com. It's a network I've run around the country since 2007. So the other thing you can do is a cash CPO, where you get a cash CPO offer and you don't have to list it or do any of that. But if you go with a conventional listing and you list it tomorrow with the average times for sale in most parts of the country, and I can give you accurately what that looks like. Northeast, if you're listening, you generally are hopping along quite nicely right now, but that is going to shift too. It comes later to some places. So we're looking at the first zip code I was given to dive deep on, 78745. That is by St. David's South Austin Medical Center, if anybody knows where that is, or Sunset Valley. If we list a house tomorrow, you're going to get the money 67% of the time at Thanksgiving. If you CPO it, i.e. if you at least get the inspection, and also good to get the appraisal, but at least get the inspection, you're going to get a check 93% of the time at Thanksgiving. Which one do you want to choose? For the sake of $600, $700, $800 up front to get all these things out of the way, I know which one I'd choose. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you want more information, go to realestateenewsradio.com, realestateenewsradio.com, click on podcasts and look at last week's show. I did an entire listing presentation that goes through all of these in detail. So with a cash CPO, you're getting the majority of your money in 14 days. So there's your three choices. Conventional, get your check, on average, of course, 67% of time at Thanksgiving. Or CPO it, always CPO it. Please don't do the conventional. I mean, I never say put it on a credit card, but this time it's worth putting it on a credit card because it saves you so much money. People are going to come in, they're going to have a repair request, especially if they feel like they've overpaid or the market's nervous, which the market is nervous right now. Buyers are nervous. Like, oh, we can see prices going down. Maybe we'll wait. So if they've paid a decent amount or all this awful news continues, then chances are they're going to try and get some money off by having a repair request. They're often $15,000, $20,000. You can pretty much take that off the table by doing the inspection up front. So it's going to bring you a check, a whole 93% of the time instead of 67% of the time. So why is that important in terms of Thanksgiving? Because here's why. So we're going back to 78745 zip code. It is in Austin, Texas. I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to tell you different pieces around there. So, interestingly, wow. So it compares it over the years, right, against all different things that are happening. We have a 50% price cut percentage. Now, what does that mean? It means of the homes that are on the market, 50% of them are cutting their price. That's a lot, guys. So the average would be much lower than that, especially in peak season, which we're in now. And it compares it to the last few years. So it's not comparing it to, Asheville, North Carolina. It's comparing it to itself. How has this happened? It's Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown, Texas. So we had 55.3% last year, and we've got 49.3%. That's a lot. It's about half the listings have price cuts. Now, is that going to affect the prices right away? Not really. They might have had a $5,000 price cut or something. So this isn't really for buyers right now, although obviously price cuts help that. But with half of those active listings having price cuts, obviously they're going to close around Thanksgiving. We just went through the timeline, or a lot of them are. And they're going to have reduced their price numerous times at this point. So if they've reduced their price numerous times, then when it closes, my phone's been overtaken by advertisements, Randy. So Randy was about to beat me then, and there's nothing Verizon can do about it. It's the craziest thing. They just come on. It doesn't matter when I'm silent or anything else. So when the house closes, when all these houses close, we're talking about an inventory. This is a big inventory, guys. This is 332. Sometimes you're looking at 16 houses and half of them have had price cuts. No, this is 332 homes, 164 have had price cuts. So those 164 homes are going to close lower, right? So the comparable, when it closes, that, gets filed at the courthouse, wherever else it gets filed. And now the appraiser that goes into a new sale has a different appraisal. So that's called a comparable. That's how we look at prices when we list houses. We look at what has the market told us? What prices are out there? What houses are selling that are similar to yours? And listen, many of you, I come out to see you in a neighborhood and you say, well, that one down there sold for $650. And I have to say, well, that one down there is 2 bedrooms smaller. And yes, I know you see the price per square foot, but it's also, 500 square feet smaller. It's not comparable. It's got to be as comparable as possible. Here's the other secret. Smaller homes go for more per square foot. I'd love to hear from any builders today, so they can really go into detail as to why that would be. My take on it is always, let's say you've got a 1/4 of an acre. That 1/4 of an acre has already got value in it. So you've got that 1/4 of an acre whether you've got a 3,000 square foot house or a 1,000 square foot house. So the price of that land is going to affect the per square feet. And you've still got to lay a foundation. And it doesn't cost half as much, I'm sure, to lay a foundation that's half the size of the house. It's a lot more. You got to get the guys out there. You got to get the equipment out there. That fixed price doesn't change. So if we've got any business builders listening, give me a call, 828-240-9962. I'm getting the number right, Randy. Yeah, I'm getting the number right. So any builders out there, give us a call. Tell me why smaller houses cost more per square foot. I think I did a half-decent job there. So with these price cuts in this particular zip code in Austin, Texas, 78745, obviously that tells us a lot. Let's look at days on market. Ooh, days on market are going up. In 2021, 13 days on market, 2 weeks. Now it's 48. So it's more like a month and a half. So we went from 2 weeks to a month and a half. And what I always like to say, days on market is always about houses that are nicely finished, don't have a whole lot of problems, that they are standing out above the others, which is what yours does, by the way, when it's certified and CPO, certified pre-owned. There's a reason why all of the dealerships CPO their cars. There's a reason why CarMax, Carvana, all of these car people, that is a CPO car. 156-point inspection. It offers a black book value. Not a blue book, it is a black book. I get corrected by the car guys on that all the time. It's a black book value. And it offers a dealership warranty. So obviously, that is going to work for a house. If we can do that for the $20,000 car, why on earth would we just take a $500,000 or $1 million house, throw it on the market, and hope for the best? It's always just confounds me. I don't know why we don't inspect them everywhere. In fact, we are doing that pretty much across California now. And I don't usually hold California as a beacon of what we should do. However, it is true in this case. We definitely want it inspected. Does it cost a little bit of money? Yes. However, it's okay because honestly, I don't remember the last repair request that came back under $15,000. So what we do when we have the inspection in is when somebody comes in with an offer, we say, we've got the inspection. Let's send this over, and we'd like you to take a look at it, which I know sounds counterintuitive and scary. We'd like you to take a look at it before we actually go into contract. And in all my time of doing this, I'm at over 3,500 transactions. That's a lot, by the way. In all those numbers of transactions, nobody's ever said, I don't want it now because of the inspection. It creates trust. It creates eyes wide open for everyone. So half the time they get their own inspections, which is just fine, but they're only going to find a few things at that point. And their buyer's agent, if they have one, is going to say, my gosh, this is the cleanest inspection I've ever seen. So it creates a trust and a sort of eyes wide open for everyone. Let's look at some more data on this one. Don't forget, give me a call, 800-570-9962. If you'd like me to do a deep dive into your zip, I've got one so far. It'll get I'm sorry, Austin Round Rock. I know you're a lovely, lovely place, but it'll get a little boring if we're talking about you for the whole hour. Median listing price. See, okay, so this tells you where we cussed. So 2020, July 2022, which is most of the country, right? So it's about 2 years ago now. So it's so interesting when you look back because these timelines aren't very long ago. So if we go back to 2016, the median listing price in 78745 Round Rock, Georgetown, there I got it, Texas, sorry. In July 2016, the median listing price was $307,904, so basically $308,000. A lot of people can afford $308,000. In fact, it's probably 80% of the population can afford, up to that $300,000 mark. And then 2017, we skipped up a little bit until in 2021, which is only 5 years later. And this has happened all over the country. What goes up must come down. It's all got overblown. Remember, we were at 308. I'm just rounding it up. We went to 549. It's a very similar story here. 307 to 549. So did people's wages increase in those 5 years? What do you think, Randy? So we need another 200. It's almost doubled. It almost doubled in price. So we needed to add the wages to afford another $250,000 on top of the median house price, 307, 308 in 2016. Obviously, the wages didn't go up by that much. Do you want to have a look at here? Randy, what zip code do you want to have a look at?
Oh, gosh. Which zip code do we take a look at? 28803.
03, that's a goodie. So that is a section
Of South Asheville and Biltmore.
Ooh, 28804 is looking interesting. That's very red. So it's only pink in 28803. So the average price point, median listing price, sorry, not average price point, $637,000.
That includes Biltmore Forest, of course.
It does. Yeah, but when you look at 28801, which is downtown, it's even more, 684,500. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
And wait for this, 28804, which is North Asheville, a lot of expensive houses, 853, 750. That's the average price point. Isn't that insane?
I believe they include the Grove Park Inn in that one.
But that's the red section. And then we go west, and some of these areas are 5-10 minutes away from each other. Then we go west and we're 525, like Malvern Hills, starting to go towards Candler, West Asheville, 525. Look at the difference, 525 to 684 in downtown Asheville. And then we go east, like Sherwood Forest, Swannanoa, 480. Crazy. And then we go, what's Black Mountain? I'm fascinated by Black Mountain. What have we got in Black? 750. No, that's 28711. 756. It's almost as much as North Asheville. Black Mountain, I lived in Black Mountain for 16 years. So for many, many years, Black Mountain was the highest dollar per square foot in Buncombe County.
Lovely place.
And it's the second highest median price point after North Asheville. 421 in Mars Hill. So it's still affordable. So no wonder people are going further out. I have a good friend, actually, that lives out in the boonies up by the Mitchell County line. And it doesn't even give it's not even daring to give prices there. That's funny. Let me see if I can find it in Leicester. Let's find some less expensive areas to live. So 28754, 421. I mean, compare that to Black Mountain, which is, what did we say? It was $750. Yeah. $300,000 more. It's twice the price for the same size home, for the median home. It's insane. But even Marshall, wait for this. So what would you, I've told you 421 Mars Hill, 479 over here, 28743, so the other side of Marshall, basically. What would you think Marshall would be? So we've got 479, we've got 421.
400.
513.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's some of the neighborhoods up there that kick the price up because, of course, when you're looking at median, that's going to kick some of them up. But it's amazing what's happening in some of these prices. Okay, here's a crazy one for you. Mills River is nearly 900,000. That's insane.
Oh.
Right next door to Mills River, 28742, $1 million. I mean, what happened to our prices? That's the median. So that's like by the North Mills River campground. There's not a whole lot up there, basically. So that's probably something to do with that. But oh
Acreage, it's beautiful up there.
$1 million?
It's amazing.
If I had me $1 million. We have to get that song out now for the break. Do you know that one? I'd buy me a fur coat, but not a real fur coat because that's cruel. It's bare naked ladies.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, prices are going absolutely nuts. And when you look at the overblown ones, so let's have a look at Woodfin, for example. There's an overblown. It's all in red. And median list price has come down from $880 a year ago to $853. And there's a lot of you sitting out there going, well, I ain't buying an $800,000 house anyway, which I totally understand. Back in 2016, guys, isn't that long ago. It's 8 years ago. Salaries haven't changed much. If anything, people are earning less now in real terms because of inflation and everything else. Back in 2016, it was $550. We're now $850. That's insane. So my point in all of this is good old Clément Juglar back in 1860 said it's a 7 to 11 year cycle with the economy. Well, guess what? The economy follows housing. I think housing drives it all, quite honestly. That's why we have one of the contenders for president standing up and saying new home buyers are going to get $25,000. Have you seen that one yet? So where is this $25,000 coming from? I mean, it's great for me because I'm in real estate, right? So that's going to release a whole bunch of people being able to buy a house. But where is this $25,000 coming from? Have you been listening to the news, Randy? Have you got any ideas on that? Randy's like, yeah, I'm not getting into politics. I ain't talking about that. Like, where's all this money that they're all spending coming from? Can we just fire them all and start again? Anybody like to be president? Give me a call, 828-240-9962. Because I don't know what's going on right now, but if you're anything like me, you think the world's gone crazy. I mean, 25,000 would be nice, right? We'd all like to be first-time home buyers. And just know that there are plenty of first-time home buyer programs out there right now where the rate is less. You don't have to put very much money down, if anything at all. And usually the rules are such that you can't have bought a house in the last 5 years. In the bank terms, that puts you into that first-time home buyer category. So make sure you ask about that. If you're buying a home and you haven't bought one in a while, make sure you ask about that because we already have those first-time home buyer programs out there. Well, you probably know how I feel about giving money away too. I mean, we've given almost, my team alone has given almost $1 million away to veterans and first responders, and now we are endorsed by Tunnel to Towers, T2T.org, through the Cash CPO program. So you can find everything about that at heroesmls.com, heroesmls.com. We can do anything of your choice for T2T.org. We can do a donation to them. It's an amazing organization if you haven't seen them. They modify homes. They actually build homes for veterans, often, with missing limbs, and they're often in wheelchairs, and they make the home with wide enough doorways and all that stuff, but with cooktops that are lower and showers that they can get into and all that good stuff. They also pay off mortgages for first responders. So with a policeman or a firefighter that's fallen, they pay off the mortgage, which is pretty amazing. They're also building an entire village in Florida. I believe it's just outside Tampa, for veterans housing, and that's what they're turning to now, like building these places where veterans can actually have a home. They're not part-time homes; they're actual homes, which is amazing. So, yeah, if you know anybody in any of those fields, or we'll give something on your behalf when you are a first responder, because we love to do that. Well, we don't have any more zip codes in, So we're going to dig into some of our local ones. If you'd like yours, if you're listening anywhere else, go ahead and send me one in. I'll have a quick look on our Facebook page at All Star Powerhouse. This is Rowena Patton, by the way, All Star Powerhouse. You can give us a call 24/7, 828-333-4483. If you're thinking about listing your home, can talk you through the process there. 828-333-4483. We've got people standing by 24/7 to take your call. So even if you work the night shift, then we'll be able to get you there. We have another zip code over here that's been sent in to me. Let's have a look at. Don't forget, guys, put your towns on, because then I don't have to look them up, and I'm lazy and I don't want to have to go and look them up. No, we've only got an hour, so that's very helpful when you do that. So let's have a look. And by the way, the cash offer now is available in Canada as well. So anywhere in the country and Canada as well, full market value cash offer. You get up to 70% within the first 14 days. We go in, we do the HGTV magic, and then we resell it, and you get the majority of the profit, and 2/3 of our sellers get more than with a conventional sale. Very happy to do a conventional sale for you as well. It's all fine. 84017. 84017. Let's see where that is. 84017. I feel like I'm having a children's show now. It is Colville, Utah. How about that? Sandy, thank you for sending that in. So 84017. Got it. Oh, that's beautiful. It's got a lake there called Echo Resort. Yeah, here we go. Ooh, $940 is the median list price. Who knew? We'll have a look at that in a second. We've got Joseph on the line. Good morning, Joseph. How are you today? Did I press the wrong button? Oh, I'm sorry. Joseph, hang on there for a second, because I'm a doofus this morning and I pressed the wrong button. Did I mess it all up?
Maybe he'll call back.
Oh, did I? It's still, maybe if I just press another button. Joe, can you hear me now? Joseph, can you hear me now?
I don't think it's going to work.
Can I pick it up?
No.
Maybe? Oh. I'm so sorry, Joseph. Can you call back in? I messed it up. Sorry. I'll leave the buttons alone next time, Randy. Okay, while we're waiting for Joseph to call back in, we have, is that Hennifer? And it's all around Echo Lake at $940. It's amazing when these prices are at $940. This is in Utah. I'm not touching anything on the buttons now because Joseph is on the air. Good morning, Joseph. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Apparently, I have all kinds of technology challenges today. I think I didn't sleep very well, so it's like, oh my gosh, there's buttons to press and things to do. How are you doing this morning? What's your day going like?
It's going pretty good. You're not the only one that's challenged with that type of thing. But
oh dear.
I wanted to ask.
Good Friday night, Joseph.
Excuse me?
Did you have a good Friday night? Do anything fun?
I did.
Oh.
Spectacular.
Oh, nice.
So what's your opinion on starting a house to sell right now? Is it a bad time locally for like the $400,000 probably plus neighborhood?
Well, what do you mean in starting one? Do you mean starting to buy one or build one or?
Building one to sell.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so are you a builder or a flipper or what do you do, Joseph?
A builder.
Oh,
I'm a builder.
We should talk. Okay,
Definitely.
so $400,000, great price point. That's what most people can afford. I started off talking about that at the top of the hour, actually. You know, so many of our prices have gone so crazy that the average person can't reach it. Even 400 is a push, honestly. But you're capturing about 70% of the market if you keep it below that 400. How big is it?
This house is between 800 and 900, the low eights actually, but it does have a chunk of land with it. It has like almost 8 acres.
Oh wow! Can you build another house on the acreage, or it won't support another one?
It wouldn't support another one. It's got some right-of-way issues on the back part of the property, but it's really nice overlooking a pond. It's kind of unique.
That's lovely. So a lot of people want acreage. So many times people are called, we have people coming here from Texas, from California, from New York, from DC, all over the place. And most people want at least, well, definitely Florida, most people want acreage for bragging rights. So when you can say, I live on 8 acres, nobody says, how big's your house, right? So you got a little bitty house that I'm sure you're going to make a little jewel box out of. How many bedrooms does it have?
It's hopefully going to have 2.
Perfect. Okay. 2 is fine. If you can do a 2-2 or even a 2-1, but definitely a 2-2, most people want that privacy, even, especially if it's a smaller house on that acreage, it might be, what are you thinking are the most likely kind of people that would move into it? Is it a second home? Is it a couple? Is it a single? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm not even allowed to say that as a realtor, but you are.
Right. I'm thinking it's going to be a second home or possibly like a VRBO. A lot of people in that area, there is 3 houses right next door where or 2 of the 3 are VRBOs part-time, and then the people live there who own the house come in here and there and stay.
That's how people are buying second homes now, and it's very hard to see figures on that because when you get an STR, a short-term rental investor, they don't say, oh, this is also going to be my second home. I mean, they do to us, but nobody tracks those figures that I've found at least. And we've always dealt with a lot of second homes in this market. And the question almost always now is, I'd like to find something that I can rent out when I'm not here, which makes perfect sense, right? So do you have some kind of storage closet in it where someone can lock up all the goodies when they go away? I guess you could put an outbuilding for that, actually, almost.
There's definitely enough room for an outbuilding. We were going to put a small outbuilding and have a jacuzzi under it, but I think we're going to put a little jacuzzi under the back porch, so we have room for outbuilding.
That sounds wonderful. I can see the ad now. Does it have any? So you said it's got a pond there. Does it have any views or anything like that?
Nothing really long range. But,
okay. You got ridgeline.
It's on a little hill overlooking the pond, and so you can see, I guess medium length views, but nothing super long.
That doesn't matter. As long as you've got views, that's killer. And you've got a pond. I mean, it's always nice to have a pond, right? Is the pond big enough to put a little boat on or something, a little tiny boat?
Oh, yeah. It's got a little John boat on it right now.
Oh, what's a John boat?
A small, like approximately 14-foot long boat. And, there's fish in there and deer every morning around it.
Oh, my gosh. Actually, I just saw a deer coming into the radio show this morning. Did you see the doe on the way in, Randy? No. It was so cool.
There was turkeys on my way in.
I love that. I see the turkeys every time. But the doe's just standing there looking at me. I'm like, I've got a show to go and do. Imagine now somebody from Florida. I'm seeing the pictures now, and I haven't even seen your property, but you've got views. It's on a little hill by the pond. Even that sounds like Beatrix Potter, if you know who that is. It's got a little John boat down there. Can we spray the John boat red or something, or put a little red flag on it or something? And then we've got...
You're not going to believe this, but it's already red.
Oh, my gosh. That is so funny. And we'll go and steal some bulrushes, some cattails to put at the side of it. It's a new home. It's a 2-2. It's an 820. So if you're interested in buying this home, give us a call, 828-333-4483. Or you can call in on the show and we'll get Joe talking about it as well. Sorry, Joseph, I'm calling you Joe. That sounds like a good thing to build. It's always a good time to build because people want new houses. And you've got something that's unique. You've got those 8 acres. It will be suitable for a VRBO because I'm guessing as a builder, the regulations that we can't do STR in the city of Asheville. And that may push out a bit further as well. We have to be a little bit careful with that because my guess is that at some point that will push out a bit further than the city. But the other thing we can think of is MTR, medium-term rental. I made that term up this week. A lot of traveling nurses and a lot of people who are building a house or maybe moving into the area want something for 3 or 4 months, or even 6 months. So while the rents aren't going to be as high as an STR, the 6-month rental is obviously going to be a lot higher than a year's rental. But people will pay a little bit more not to be locked into a year's lease and not to be locked into one of these apartment buildings, which there's so many now. But, they might have dogs or something like that. Do you have any animals, Joseph?
I do. I have a couple dogs. I think Woodfin has actually put a stop to the VRBO thing, the short-term rental as well.
Yes.
I built a house for a client, and they actually sold it right off the bat, and the guy who bought it was from California, and he bought it sight unseen.
Wow.
And turned it into a VRBO, and they got grandfathered in, but after that, it's not happening over there.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's really sad when you think that people have bought things thinking that they can do that, and sometimes they're not grandfathered in, which can be very tricky. You can actually do it in Asheville, but it has to be homesteaded, and you have to get all kinds of permits, and they make it very, very difficult. In other words, the homesteading piece just means that you've got to live in the house, and you can rent out a portion of your house. But there's all kinds of rules, like you can't have a full-size range in there because then they think you might do a long-term rental, which makes it tricky.
There's a certain amount of officials that want to keep your property values down, basically.
Yes, yeah. The worst people it hits. I mean, we could have a whole show on STRs, but the worst, it hits the hardest for people that have maybe just inherited a property and they don't want to let it go. It's their parents' property. They don't want to let it go, and they're like, oh, we'll just short-term rental it, and then they find out they can't. Or what I saw the last time around, actually, when we went into this period of price reductions, which is what we're seeing now, that's going to lead to lower prices, it's going to go on for quite a long time. What I saw last time, particularly in condo buildings, is that people lose their job or they have to move to a different part of their country. Maybe one of their parents gets sick or something like that. And they move out, but they're not allowed to rent out their condo. That's very common in condo buildings, which means that really depresses prices because the amount of foreclosures we saw because of that happening, because they weren't allowed to rent them out, which is terrible, right? Now, of course, you can rent houses out in Asheville. It just has to be I don't know how they could ever stop you renting houses out, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It's our property. We should be able to do what we want with it, right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. And there's all they claim that Airbnbs really hit affordable housing, but a lot of the people that I find are buying Airbnbs are not wealthy people. These are mom and pops or people that inherit a home and don't want to let it go. They're not big wealth. Everybody thinks of STRs of being these groups of big wealthy investors that are buying up all these homes, and in the main, that's not what it is. That's at least not what I see of people coming in. So I think you've got a red John boat which is perfect. We're going to get some. Is the pond pretty? Do you have some nice cattails in there and that kind of thing?
It's got some nice little trees coming up around, weep willows and stuff like that.
Oh, good. What kind of fish is in there?
Mostly largemouth bass.
Ooh. You better
very large.
You better send me
koi.
Directions so I can come up and catch some fish and I know what I'm having for dinner tonight.
There you go.
But yeah, I think if your question is, are you safe building it? I think you are. Go for, do high level on a budget. You know what that means as a builder. I'm guessing you've built a few before. This is not your first foray into building.
A few, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you've done a few, you know what you're doing. And, people expect higher end now. So, for example, you probably don't want to put granite in. You probably want to put quartz or silestone in. And at that size of square footage, you're probably talking about the difference of $1,000. It is worth investing that. That makes a big difference. Especially when, as we know, I should ask you about that. So, can you give me some reasoning why smaller houses are twice as much per square foot? Because it's often what it is. They're normally 40-50% more, and people are always confused by it. I had my theory. I don't know if you heard it earlier.
Well, I don't know. Some of the reasons why you would think it would be cheaper in a lot of ways, but you still have a lot of the same components, the well and the driveway and all that stuff.
Yes. Exactly. So, and that's exactly what I was saying. So, whether you build, so let's talk about the fact you're pouring. Let's say you're pouring the foundation. Whether if you're pouring a foundation that's for an 800 square foot house, or for a 2,000 or 1,600 square foot house, if it's going up, the foundation still costs the same, right? So
roughly to a certain point, yes.
Well, I mean, if you're going up on the house, the foundation,
Yep.
if the footprint is 820, and then you're going up at 1640 because you're building on the second floor, your footprint's still the same. So how much does it cost to? I mean, just throw out a figure, wild figure of pouring a concrete slab to put your house on. Or it's probably not a concrete slab, whatever you call it.
Let's just say the average price was $10,000.
$10,000. Okay, so it's going to cost you $10,000. That $10,000 is now you've got 820 square feet divided by $10,000, or 1,600 and whatever that is, 40 square feet divided by $10,000. So that's a lot more per square foot right there just for the concrete. And then if you've got let's say you've got a long driveway, you've got 8 acres. So let's say you've got 100 feet of driveway. Let's say you've got 200 feet of driveway, and we want to put tarmac on it, we want to put asphalt on it. How much is that going to cost?
Probably 200 feet, which is in my case. So that would, in asphalt, it would probably be, I don't know, just say 15, 20 grand at least.
I love
this.
No, I love this. You're doing really well. So thank you, because I'm really putting you on the spot. So you've got another $20,000. So Matt, when you're selling a house, right, if you look on any of our sites, go to mountainhomehunt.com, you'll see it's all the same. That house isn't going to say, oh, well, it will tell you it's got more acreage, and it will tell you that it's got a, asphalt driveway and a pond and everything else. But all those costs, so that $20,000 now is spread over 820 or 1,640 square feet, right? So obviously $20,000 spread over 1,640 is going to be half the price per square foot of I'm not explaining it very well, am I, Joseph? Can you do a better job than me?
Fine.
I am? Okay.
You're doing fine, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's just a numbers game that if you have more square feet, then I think you said it really well in the beginning. You said a lot of the components are the same. So your well could easily be $20,000, right? Sometimes they're less than that, just depending. You're going to have 15 in your septic, about right?
It's right. You're probably going to hit 10, 20 grand on a well, depending on how deep, of course. But
yeah,
it's better to go ahead and figure at least 10,000.
Can you name this song, Joseph? How deep is your well?
No, I cannot.
Oh, you can't? That's a shame. If you want to call in, you can win a trivia prize, 828-570-9962. It was the Bee Gees. Never mind.
That's why.
Yeah,
yep.
that you don't like the Bee Gees, Joseph?
I'm not a Bee Gees fan. I had to.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm
hear them on the radio when I was a kid, but I definitely was not a Bee Gees album owner.
Oh,
back in
well,
the day.
I'm not sure if I can help you sell your house. I'm just kidding. So we're at 35. Okay, so we're at $35,000 for the well and the septic, and we don't know because we don't know how far we're going to drill and everything else. We have to guess these things. We're at $20,000 for the driveway. We're at $10,000 for the concrete. I'm surprised it's not more than that, honestly. What else is in the fixed components that you can think of? So we've got a well, septic, we've got a driveway, we've got the concrete. What else?
I mean, those are the main ones right off the bat. But I guess land, you didn't say anything about the land, but you're still going to be roughly the same size a lot.
It's got to be 50,000 in the land, right, for a decent piece of land. So now we're at 50, 60, 70, 80, 115, I think I'm at. So now you've got 115,000 spread out over the 820 square feet or the 1,640 square feet. Obviously, over the extra square footage, it's half the price. And
you have the time component, so the houses are roughly going to take, they're going to roughly be the same amount of time to build it. Obviously, a small one will be a little less, but somebody wants to make roughly the same profit. as they do on one that's a few hundred square feet bigger.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah, so it's that, it's like, oh, I'll build it in half. So obviously an 820 square foot house doesn't take, 6 months, and the 1640 takes a year. It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
It's that puzzle piece again. Anyway, I've taken up your whole Saturday morning, Joseph. Thank you so much. I will be in touch.
Answer my questions.
Well, I hope so. I hope I got your questions answered. And yes, I think you're pretty safe at that 400,000 mark. You've got the pond, you've got the views. Just make sure you get those 2 bedrooms in, 2 baths, whatever it takes, because you do not want a 1 bedroom in this market at 400,000. That would not be good.
Gotcha.
All right, my dear. You have a great day. Thank you so much for calling in. It was very fun talking to you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Wasn't he awesome? He knew the prices on everything, and I put him right on the spot. That was very cool. So thank you for that, Joseph. That was very helpful. We should get you on. We love having builders on the show to really go through the components that people need to think about. So I hope you're all having a great Saturday out there. We're talking about zip codes and building, and we jumped about all over the place today. We had Joseph call in on whether it's a good idea to build his $400,000 house. There are still spec houses going on. And of course, there are plenty of people out there that want to build houses as well, because whatever the market is doing, yes, it's a 7 to 11 year cycle, but whatever the market is doing, if it's the right time for you to build a house, it's the right time for you to build a house. You might be in your 50s. I actually talked to somebody who I'm listing the other day and talked to them about the cycle, and it's 7 to 11 years. And they said, we're 80 years old. They're almost 80 years old. And I said, listen, you can throw it out there right now at a high price and hope for the best, or we can get aggressive with the price now so we're not chasing the market down, or you can hold the property and maybe one day your kids will want it. And they said, kids will never want it. They've not shown any interest so far, and the grandkids haven't shown any interest, which unfortunately is often the case, especially with country properties. And these kids just don't know what they can put their hands on, and often they want the cash out of it instead. Maybe we were all the same and things haven't changed. I don't know. But really, really think about what you're doing right now. If you have property and, if you're even if you're 50, so let's say you're 55 years old, in 10 years you're going to be 65 years old. If you're in that 4-5 bedroom house property right now and you don't need all of that property, how comfortable are you going to be in 10 years' time packing up and moving out? Now, the good news is your house is likely to be worth more. So, even though we've got, imagine mountain humps, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, just like the economy. It follows the economy. So even though you've got those humps going up and down, imagine a straight line starting at 8 o'clock going up to 2 o'clock. You have to look at the clock now if anybody's got one on the wall, or maybe more like 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, honestly. In other words, it's a slanted line going up. It's if I could remember the we need Joseph on the line for this because he's got the pictures of the roofs, but it's a fairly low pitched roof going upwards. I'm making this way too difficult. In other words, your house will be worth more, most likely, it always has been, in 10 years than it was worth now. So, keep hold of it and rent it out. We'll help you rent it out too. Or just keep hold of it and live in it if you want to. I just want you to be very aware that don't think, oh, I just can't face it now. This is what many of us think. And I've been there and I suffered from it, actually. I've suffered once in real estate, twice actually in, 43, 44 personal sales. Twice I've suffered, and both are because I didn't listen to my gut feel and I was just tired and I couldn't be bothered. And it's like, I'll try it in a couple of years. And I knew I was doing the wrong thing. Both of the times it bit me. So don't think, I'll just get around to it in a couple of years. I'm too busy now, or I'm not busy enough, or I'm not feeling too great, and I'll try it again next year, because chances are it's going to be worth less. The most we ever went down, I think I'm getting this figure right, nationally, is 0.8% a month. So the good news is it doesn't happen very quickly, but 0.8 is quite a lot. Do you have a big fat calculator over there, Randy? Or are you doing what I'm doing and opening up? You know, what I love to do is I love to have a big fat old-fashioned calculator on my desk. You know what I'm talking about, with those big buttons on? And they're cheap as well, and kids think you're like an old person or something if you have them. Old person's all relative these days. So if you're so the average price point here is 600,000, which blows me away, frankly, times 0.08. That's $48,000. Ooh, that can't be right. That must be $4,800. I'm doing it incorrectly. It's 4,800. I'm doing it incorrectly. But nonetheless, you times that by 10 months, it's $48,000, right? So that's quite a decrease on a $600,000 house, obviously. Yeah, no, I know I'm right, even though I just got the comma in the wrong place. So we went down over 30% last time around, and there's a lot of agents out there and a lot of people saying, oh, you know, honestly, it blows me away. There's a lot of people talking about how they don't think there'll be a price reduction. Guys, it's already happening. I can show you. In fact, we were looking at this one in Utah, although maybe Utah's different. We've got somebody who'd asked about 84033, Herber. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if you're in Utah. Heber. Is that Herber? Ever heard of Herber? It's by a lake. So we've got, okay, so in 2021, we had crazy median listing price, 1.8 million, basically. I'm rounding it to make the fact, 1.8 million. Who can afford 1.8 million? And then it's gone down to it's only 940,000 now.
It's half.
Oh gosh, you're right. Yeah, it's nearly halved in only 3 years. Okay, how does this happen? Like, it's a real struggle to see where the prices are going now. The forecast is a very strong downward price. So they take 30 data points to work on all of these. It's really interesting. This is Summit County in Utah, one of the zip codes somebody had sent in to me. And the thing we need to look at here is that let's look at the price cut to see if that's where it's getting it from. Very interesting. 50% price cuts. It's a very small number of inventory, though, so I never really trust these. Last year, it was 50%. Most of the time, it's zero. No price cuts at all. Isn't that crazy? They just don't reduce their price. But it's a very strong indicator that the prices are going down, which is interesting. Let's go back to one here. We've got another minute, Randy. Almost a minute. Where do you want to look at here? I know you already gave me one already. 28803, and then I think our caller, was it Joe, called in? Joseph? 28803. All right, this one's for all you locals in 28803, 28805, 28801, 28806, 28803, Biltmore Forest. 28.8% is the price cut, so about a third of them are cutting their price. Let's see how that compares. That's what I like to look at. So back in 2020, 18.6 had price cuts. Now we've got 28.8. It's about a third of them are having price cuts. That's above the norm. This is where all the trend is going. And for most of the counties, we have 5 months of data. See you on the radio next week, guys. Thanks for listening.
This has been the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton. Visit Rowena and post your questions at radioasheville.com or call her at 828-210-1648.